Success doesn't come from what you do occasionally, but what you do consistently. Blessed day, dear students. It's a very crucial period for us to lead our lives. Study at home won't be that much very effective than the study in classroom situation. You are now matured enough to understand the crucial and economical problem of our family. Amidst of all difficulties, God has raised you in His hand to study and gain knowledge. Make use of the time. Don't waste it. Do all the work that is assigned to you. Study the portion for a monthly test daily. Work hard. Then you will succeed. Success doesn't come from what you do occasionally, but what you do consistently. For your monthly test, we have 2 chapters. Practice. Practice makes perfect. Come, let us revise. Chapter 1, the living world. So in this lesson, we are going to discuss some of the important terms. Ecosystem. What is meant by ecosystem? Ecosystem is a community of living organisms and the non-living environment and their relationship. Simply you can write ecosystem means the interrelationship between a living and non-living environment. And this was given by A.G. Tansley in the year 1935. Ecosystem means it is an interrelationship of living organisms and the non-living environment. So what is biodiversity? The presence of large number of species in a particular ecosystem. So now large number of species means the living organisms present in a particular place. So that is called as biodiversity or biological diversity. Bio means life, living things. Diverse means they can live in all the habitats. So the term biodiversity was first introduced by Walter Rosen in the year 1985 and it was defined by E.D. Wilson. So in this lesson, we are having so many biologist name. You have to know the spelling of these biologist name. For test, I will give only the Phillips, not the choose. So you write the spellings, you read all the biologist name, what are their contribution, etc. So next is, what is classification? Classification means it is a process by which the things are grouped in a convenient categories. So we are going to classify. Classification means grouping the animals in a convenient categories based on their characters. So what are the basic need for classification? It is a very important 2 mark or 3 mark question. So what is the basic need for classification? To identify and differentiate closely related species. So classification helps in identifying and differentiating closely related species. Second one, to know the variation among the species. And next one is to understand the evolution of the species. And next is to create a phylogenetic tree. Phylogenetic tree means to find out the evolutionary relationship. Now, முன்னோர்கள் யாருன்னு கண்டுபிடிக்கிறதுக்கு யூஸ்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கும். So to conveniently study the living organisms. So you have to read this question. Next, what is taxonomy or define taxonomy? So you split the word taxonomy, taxes, arrangement, norms, law. So taxonomy is the arrangement of living organisms along with classification, description, identification and naming of organisms, which includes all flora and fauna, that means plants and animals, including microorganisms of the world. So this is an important 2 mark question. What is taxonomy? Taxonomy is the science of arrangement of living organisms along with the classification, description, identification and naming of organisms, which includes all plants and animals, including microorganisms. So this word taxonomy was coined by Dash Augustine Pyramus de Candolle in the year 1813. And then who is called as the father of classical taxonomy? Aristotle. And who is called as the father of modern taxonomy? Carolus Linnaeus. Carolus Linnaeus contributed much more in the taxonomy by the development of hierarchical system of classification of nature. So what is the hierarchical system of hierarchical system? So the animals or the plants are divided into several taxons. That means kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. Next we move on to the history of classification. So history of classification. So how various biologists classify these animals. So first one comes is the Aristotle, because he is called the father of taxonomy, right? So Aristotle was the first to classify animals in his book History of Animals or Historia Animalium. It may be asked in 1 mark. So based on the locomotion, so Aristotle classified animals into walking terrestrial, flying aerial and swimming aquatic. And based on the presence or absence of red blood cells, that means RBC, he classified animals into 2 groups, that is anema with blood and those without this blood is called as anema. So it is an important 2 mark question. So how Aristotle classified animals based on RBC. So based on the presence or absence of RBC or red blood, Aristotle classified animals into 2 as anema. E-N-A-I-M-A. Anema with blood and those without blood as anema. So there are several limitations in Aristotle classification that you know already. And then after Aristotle, his student Theophatus, so he continued his research on the plants. So he is called as the father of botany. Who is called as father of botany? Theophatus. And then after him comes John Ray. So John Ray published a book called Methodus Planetarum Nova in the year 1682. 1 mark it will be asked. John Ray published a book called Methodus Planetarum Nova in 1682. So it contained nearly about 18,000 plant species. So after John Ray comes a Swedish biologist Carolus Linnaeus. So he is the father of modern taxonomy. He is the founder of systematics. He developed taxonomy and binomial nomenclature. Then comes this classical taxonomy moved to numerical taxonomy. Numerical taxonomy is nothing but it is a modification of system which involves the statistical methods followed by computer analysis to establish the numerical degree of relationship among individuals. So the numerical degrees are carried out by this numerical taxonomy. After numerical taxonomy comes the phylogenetic classification. This phylogenetic classification is also called as cladistics. What is cladistic classification? Cladistic classification summarizes the genetic differences between all species. So the genetic difference between the species are carried out by this cladistic classification. Ernest Haeckel, he introduced the method of this evolutionary relationship with the help of the tree diagram called cladogram. So cladogram was given by Ernest Haeckel. And then depending upon the class system of classification, the organisms are classified into 2 kingdom, 3 kingdom, and then later 4, 5, 6 up to 7 kingdom. So you know that R.H. Whitaker proposed the 5 kingdom classification. So he defines Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae and animals. So after Whitaker, this 5 kingdom classification is then moved into 6 kingdom classification as bacteria, archaea, protista, fungi, plantae and animals. Then comes the 7 kingdom classification. So this 7 kingdom classification was revised by the 6th kingdom is split into the 7th kingdom by Cavalier Smith in the year 1987. So the 7 kingdom classification system includes eubacteria, arachidibacteria. So bacteria is divided into two, eubacteria and arachidibacteria, protozoa, chromista, fungi, plants and animals. So these are the different kingdoms, how animals are classified. Then comes 3 domains of life. It's a very important 5-mark question. So you have to read and write. So this 3 domains of life. 3 domain classification was proposed by Carl Oase. Carl Oase, Carlwoese. Carl Oase in the year 1977. So what are the 3 kingdoms? Archaea, bacteria and eukarya. So in archaea, they are single-celled organisms. So you write in points so that it will be easy for you to remember. No need to memorize, understand and read. Okay. So they are single-celled organisms. They have ability to grow extreme conditions like volcano vents, hot springs and polar ice caps. So they are called as extremophiles. So what are called extremophiles? The prokaryotes which have the ability to grow in extreme conditions such as volcano vents, hot springs and polar ice caps are called as extremophiles. And some of them produces methane, so they are called as methanogens, and few live in a salty condition, so they are called as halophiles. Salty condition na halophile, extreme condition na extremophiles, methane produce panna methanogens. Okay, and some can live in acidic as well as in high temperature. Acidic, high temperature. So they are called as thermoacidophile. Thermo அப்படினா temperature. Thermoacidophiles. So அவ்வளவுதான் archaea. First point, single cell organism. Second, extremophiles. They have the ability to grow in extreme condition. Third point, methanogens. Fourth point, halophile, salty condition. Fifth point, thermoacidophiles. They can live in acidic environment as well as in the high temperature. முடிஞ்சுதா? அடுத்தது second domain, bacteria. So these bacteria are prokaryotic. They have no definite nucleus. So they are prokaryotic. Number 1. They do not have definite nucleus. DNA is circular. Second point. They do not possess a membrane bound organelles except ribosome. Ribosome மட்டும்தான் இருக்கும், வேற எந்த செல் ஆர்கனலும் கிடையாது. Okay, and many of and then the cell wall contains peptidoglycan because it contains a cell wall. Cell wall is made up of peptidoglycans. These are decomposers. They decompose. And then there are 2 types of bacteria. One is probiotic bacteria, another one is pathogenic bacteria. Probiotic means beneficial, pathogenic means harmful, which causes diseases. And another cyanobacteria, that is blue green algae, which produces oxygen. Okay, போதும், இது வரைக்கும் இந்த பாயிண்ட்ஸ் போதும். Domain, bacteria. First one, they are prokaryotic. They have no definite nucleus and DNA is circular. Second point. Third point, they do not possess membrane bound cell organelles except ribosome. Fourth point, their cell wall contains peptidoglycan. Fifth point, many are decomposers. Sixth point, they are beneficial probiotic bacteria and harmful pathogenic bacteria. போதும். Okay, next domain, eukarya. Eukaryotes are animals which have true nucleus and membrane bound cell organelles. Eukaryotes na true nucleus இருக்கும், membrane bound cell organelles இருக்கும். ஓகேவா? and then DNA in the nucleus are arranged in the linear chromosome. அது வரைக்கும் போதும். DNA வந்து linear ஸ்ட்ரெயிட்டா இருக்கும், ஆனால் பாக்டீரியாவில் DNA சர்க்குலராக இருக்கும், யூகேரியாவில் ஸ்ட்ரெயிட்டாக இருக்கும். ஓகேவா? ஸோ அனிமல்ஸ் இன் திஸ் domain are classified under various kingdoms, namely protista, fungi, plants and animals. Okay, so these are the 3 domains of life. Very easy question. If you understand, you can write it as points, right? Next we move on to the taxonomical hierarchy. What is taxonomical hierarchy? So taxonomical hierarchy involves 7 major categories. That means kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. So it is also a 5-mark question. Okay, so it will be easy for you if you understand and write. Give examples here and there. So first we see species. What is species? Species is the basic unit of classification. Species means it's a basic unit of classification. So it is a group of animals having similar morphological feature. இது வந்து ஒரு group of animal similar morphology na வெளி தோற்றம் இருக்கும். Okay, and is reproductively isolated to produce fertile offerings. Fertile na reproductive offerings produce பண்ணணும். Okay, and they can produce sterile offerings also. Sterile na மலட்டு தன்மையா இருக்கும். They can't able to reproduce. ஏன் offerings sterile இருக்குது? Because of mating with closely related species. ஒரு evaluation question கூட இருக்கு. Why mule is sterile? Because of mating with closely related species. So example for this is male horse when mate with a female donkey. Male horse with a female donkey results in hinny, and male donkey with a female horse results in mule. So species na 3 points. So species is the basic unit of classification. It is a group of animal having similar morphological features and is reproductively isolated to produce fertile offerings. And then sterile offerings are produced because of mating of closely related species. That's all. Next is genus. It is a group of closely related species which have evolved from a common. So a group of closely related species is called genus. So some genus there are only one species. ஒரே ஒரு species மட்டும் தான் இருக்கும். So they are called as monotypic species. Example red panda. அடுத்தது பார்த்தோம்னா there are more than one species. நிறைய species சேர்ந்தது genus. So they are called as polytypic. Example cat. Genus Felis. அது வரைக்கும் போதும். ஓகேவா? So genus means group of closely related species. It is of 2 types, monotypic and polytypic. Monotypic na only one species தான் இருக்கும். Example red panda. Polytypic na they consist of more than one species. So example cats comes under the family genus Felis. Next family. Family means group of related genera. Group of related நிறைய generaஸ்லாம் ஒன்று சேர்ந்தா family with less similarity as compared to genus and species. Example பாரு family Felidae. அங்கே genus Felis எழுதணுமா? இங்கே family Felidae which includes genus Felis and genus Panthera. Felisனா cat, Panthera அப்படின்னு வரும்போது lion, tiger, leopard இதெல்லாம் எல்லாமே புலி வகை அந்த cat வகையை சேர்ந்தது தான். So they are called as family Felidae. இது எக்ஸாம்பிள். அடுத்தது ஆர்டர். ஆர்டர் மீன்ஸ் ஆர்டரில் என்ன வரும்? அசம்பிளேஜ் ஆஃப் ஒன் ஆர் மோர் ரிலேட்டட் ஃபேமிலிஸ். நிறைய ஃபேமிலிஸ்லாம் ஒன்று சேர்ந்தா ஆர்டர். ஓகே, அந்த எக்ஸ்ட்ரா இதெல்லாம் வேண்டாம். வித் ஷோ காமன் ஃபீச்சர்ஸ் கரெக்டாக பாயிண்ட்டை மட்டும் எழுதுங்க. ஸோ ஒன் ஆர் மோர் சிமிலர் ஃபேமிலிஸ் ஆர் குரூப் டுகெதர் டு ஃபார்ம் அன் ஆர்டர். எக்ஸாம்பிள் ஃபேமிலி Canidae and Felidae ஆர் பிளேஸ்ட் இன் ஆர்டர் கார்னிவோரா. Canidae and Felidae ரெண்டும் சேர்ந்து ஆர்டர் கார்னிவோரா. Next is class. Classனா என்னது? ஸோ இட் இன்க்ளூட்ஸ் ஒன் ஆர் மோர் ரிலேட்டட் ஆர்டர்ஸ். ஒன்று இல்லைன்னா அதுக்கு மேற்பட்ட ஆர்டர்ஸ் ஒன்று சேர்ந்தால் அது கிளாஸ். இங்கே பாரு ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் ஆர்டர் ப்ரைமேட்டா. ப்ரைமேட்ஸ் அப்படின்னு சொல்லும்பொழுது இட் இன்க்ளூட்ஸ் monkey, ape, man and is placed under class Mammalia along with the order Carnivora which includes dogs and cat. நம்மளும் டாக்ஸ் கேட்டு எல்லாருமே ஒன்று தான். ஸோ it comes under order Primata. அடுத்தது ஃபைலம். குரூப் ஆஃப் கிளாஸ். கிளாஸ் எல்லாம் ஒன்று சேர்ந்தால் ஃபைலம். ஸோ அதுக்கு எக்ஸாம்பிள் கிளாஸஸ் ஃபிஷ்ஷஸ், ஆம்ஃபிபியன்ஸ், ரெப்டைல்ஸ், ஏவ்ஸ், மேமல்ஸ் எல்லாமே ஒன்று சேர்ந்து ஃபைலம் கார்டேட்டாவில் இருக்குது. அவ்வளோதான், அதோட போதும். ஜஸ்ட் ரைட் 2 points. கிங்டம். ஆல் லிவிங் அனிமல்ஸ் பிலாங்கிங் டு வேரியஸ் ஃபைலம். என்னென்ன ஃபைலம்ஸில் இருக்கிறதெல்லாம் எல்லாம் ஒன்று சேர்ந்தா கிங்டம். ஸோ உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், செகண்ட் லெசனில் பார்த்துருக்கோம். ஃப்ரம் ஃபைலம் போரிஃபெரா டு எக்கினோடர்மேட்டா அண்ட் தென் கார்டேட்டாவில் பார்த்துருக்குறோம். ஃபிஷ்ஷஸ் டு கிளாஸஸ், அதெல்லாம் கிளாஸஸ். கிளாஸஸ்லாம் ஒன்று சேர்ந்தா ஃபைலம், ஃபைலம்லாம் ஒன்று சேர்ந்தா கிங்டம். அவ்வளோதான். ஸோ இட்ஸ் வெரி ஈஸி கொஸ்டின். அப்படியே ஒன்றுத்துலையும் 2 points வித் எக்ஸாம்பிள் எழுதுனா யூ கேன் ஸ்கோர் ஃபுல் 5 marks. ஓகே, ஸோ ரீட், ரைட், Okay, after revising this, you please sit and write. படிச்சுட்டு 2 points எழுதிட்டு take a snapshot and send it to me. Okay, and next is what is nomenclature. Nomenclature na enadhu? Naming of organisms. There are 2 types of nomenclature, binomial and trinomial. Questions kandipa ilundu varum. What is binomial nomenclature and what is trinomial nomenclature? So each name has 2 components. Bi na 2, அப்ப 2 பேர் இருக்கும். ஒன்னு generic name, இன்னொன்னு specific species name. So each name has a 2 components, a generic name and a specific name, that is called as binomial nomenclature. இதை யார் கண்டுபிடிச்சா? Carolus Linnaeus. Example, national bird அது என்னது? Peacock. Peacock-க்கு Pavo cristatus. ஸோ அந்த இதெல்லாம் நேம்லாம் பார்த்து வச்சுக்கணும். டைகருக்கு Panthera tigris. So which is the state bird of Tamil Nadu அப்படின்னு கூட கேள்வி கேட்பாங்க. Common emerald dove. Okay, and then trinomial nomenclature was proposed by 1 mark. Trinomial nomenclature was proposed by Huxley and Strickland. Tri 3 names. அப்போ generic name, species name and a subspecies name. அது போதும். உடனே எக்ஸாம்பிளுக்கு வந்துருங்க. All the 3 names எல்லாமே இட்டாலிக்ஸில் தான் இருக்கும். Generic name கேபிட்டலாக இருக்கும். If handwritten, it should be underlined separately. Example, Corvus, 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 splendens, splendens. In the binomial nomenclature, இது எழுதும் பொழுது first எழுதக்கூடிய genus name starts with capital letter. Okay, அந்த second name எழுதும் போது first letter small letterல தான் எழுதணும். அது நீங்கள் capital letterல எழுதுனீங்கன்னா தப்பு. Okay, so 2 names la first name starts with, that is the genus name starts with capital letter, whereas the species name starts with small letter. So see the rules of nomenclature. It's a very important 3 mark or 5 mark question. இதெல்லாம் book inside question. கண்டிப்பாக படிக்கணும், படிச்சுட்டு நோட்டில் எழுதணும். Rules of nomenclature. So generic name, இப்போ தான் சொன்னேன். Generic name first alphabet should be in upper case. upper caseன்னு எழுதலாம், இல்லைன்னா capital letter அப்படின்னு கூட எழுதலாம். Generic name first alphabet should be upper case or capital. The species name should be small letter. So the scientific names of any 2 organisms are not similar. 2 organismsக்கு ஒரே scientific name கொடுக்க மாட்டாங்க. அடுத்தது, the name or the abbreviated name of the scientist who publishes the scientific name may be written after the species name along with the year of publication. இப்போ எந்த ஒரு சயின்டிஸ்ட் ஒரு அனிமலுக்கு நேம் கண்டுபிடிக்கிறாரோ அவருடைய பேர் அப்ரிவேட்டட் ஃபார்ம் சின்னதாக சுருக்கி அந்த ஸ்பீஷிஸ் நேமுக்கு பின்னாடி இயரோட சேர்த்து எழுதலாம். எக்ஸாம்பிள், லயன், ஃபெலிஸ் லியோ, பக்கத்தில் பார் LINN, லின். லின்னுனா லினேயஸ் கண்டுபிடிச்சார். ஆல் ஷார்ட்டா எல் அப்படின்னு கூட போடலாம். இந்த இயர் 1758. You have to write 1 example. If you write examples, you can score good marks. And next point is, if the species name is famed after any person's name, the name of the species shall end with the I and AE. ஸோ யாராவது ஒரு பயாலஜிஸ்ட் ஒரு அனிமலை கண்டுபிடிச்சு அவருடைய பேரை வைக்கிறோம் அப்படின்னா அவர் பேர் வைக்கும் பொழுது அந்த அனிமலோட நேம் எப்படி முடியணும்? I and AE. அவ்வளோதான். ரொம்ப சிம்பிள், வெரி ஈஸி கொஷின். Okay, you have to write the example. CYRTO, Crictodactylus Vardhagiri, GIRII. Okay, next is concept of species. பார்த்துக்கோ, அதெல்லாம் 1 markல வரும். So what defines species ன்னு கேட்கலாம். And then John Ray, John Ray, and then அவரோட புக்கு என்ன புக்கு எழுதினாரு? Historia Generalis Plantarum. Historia Generalis Plantarum was written by John Ray. And then Carolus Linnaeus, Systema Naturae. Charles Darwin, Origin of Species. Okay, so these are the different 1 marks. And then what are the various tools for the study of taxonomy? Tools for study of taxonomy. So different tools இருக்கும். Classical taxonomical tools, molecular taxonomical and automated species identification tool. So classical taxonomical tools includes taxonomical keys, museum, zoological parks, marine parks and printed taxonomical tools. அப்படியே அதை பற்றி 2 lines அப்படியே explain பண்ணிக்கணும். Next is the molecular taxonomical tools which includes RNA and DNA. DNA and RNA யூஸ் பண்ணி எப்படி நம்ம டாக்ஸானமிக்கு யூஸ் ஆகிறோம். ஸோ இட் இன்க்ளூட்ஸ் barcoding, DNA barcoding, DNA hybridization, DNA fingerprinting, restriction fragment length polymorphism RFLP, and then PCR polymerase chain reaction. This is an evaluation question. Evaluation le படிச்சிடலாம். And then automated species identification tool, which includes other computers la போட்டு automated நம்மள இது பண்றது. ஓகேவா? ஸோ டெய்ஸி இந்த அப்ரிவேஷன்ஸ் பார்த்துக்கோ. ALIS, DAISY, ABIS, SPIDA. Okay, you have to read these abbreviations. And then neo-taxonomical tools. Neo-taxonomical means electron microscopic images. That's the keyword. Okay, ethology of taxonomical tools. What is ethology? Means behavior of an organisms. And then what is inotaxa? Inotaxa means integrated open taxonomic access. Integrated open taxonomic access. So far we just discussed or ஒரு view பார்த்தாச்சு first lesson. ஓகேவா? I told you so many 2 marks, 3 marks and 5 marks including 1 marks. So have a book with you. Please go through. If you don't have book, take a Xerox of first lesson and second lesson. Okay, with the help of pencil you mark all the important 1 marks, 2 marks and 5 marks I discussed. Okay, read. So yeah, in afternoon session we will discuss about the evaluation 2 marks evaluation questions from 9 to 16 and about different 1 marks. So please go through and write. If you have any doubt, call me. Thank you.